Hello everybody, my name is Pietro and it is my pleasure to host this presentation and indeed to introduce the Uteco staff who will be with us during the presentation and who have been working with this technological jewel. I have Giuseppe Saoli and the two technicians, Simone Rossignoli and Matteo Moscardo. Simone, let me give you the floor. Hello everybody. My name is Simone Rossignoli. I have been working in Uteco for 6 years and I am a lamination and print technician. Matteo. Hello. My name is Matteo Moscardo. I have been working with Uteco for more than 15 years and I deal with startup and training with our clients who buy flexographic, rotogravure machines and copiers. Thank you very much. Last but not least, Giuseppe. Hello, Pietro, and I'd like to welcome all our guests who are following this presentation. My name is Giuseppe Saoli. I'm the area manager responsible for Uteco for sales in the Far East. This machine that we are presenting today is the fruit of the hybridization technology by Uteco. It comes from the Uteco know-how, which has been designing and producing for 40 years printing machines, which are the fruit of the hybridization of different technologies. Everything happens here in the province of Verona, a few kilometers away from Verona, where Uteco has its production plant. This coexistence of designing and production in the same site allows Uteco to guarantee a faster time to market and deliver what clients need. Indeed, we supply technologies which often come from, as I said, hybridization, the hybridization of different printing technologies. Whilst Matteo and Simone get the machine going, why don't we explain the components or the features of this machine which make it such a unique two-in-one machine? Of course, Pietro. Let's say that the main feature that this hybrid machine has is the possibility of printing reel-to-reel and printing reel-to-sheet. Nowadays, this is a very important characteristic since our converters on the market must meet highly diversified needs, both in terms of time to market and in terms of production flexibility. This machine allows our customers to move very quickly from reel-to-reel printing to reel-to-sheet printing. And it is a machine which encompasses two machines in one. Let us think of what recently happened during the pandemic. There have been some sectors, for example, food delivery, which grew exponentially, and therefore the need for packaging able to deliver this food. Other sectors, for example, shopping and tourism, which of course went down. For our customers, this meant an increase in the supply of packaging for example, crisps or hamburgers, and a decrease in the supply of shopping bags, which are widely used. A machine such as this one allows us to fulfill both needs, and with a limited investment and a limited space within the plant of our customer, we can meet both needs so that we can avoid having a production line which the client invested on, which is basically at a standstill, whilst the other cannot cover orders. So this is an optimization of the work. Indeed, an optimization of changeovers, of job changes. Giuseppe, what are the main characteristics in terms of technology of this machine? Let us start directly from the unwinder, which can deal with reels with a width of 1,500 millimeters. After the unwinder, we have a cleaning system with brushes and an aspiration device which removes the dust, which sometimes is deposited on the sheets of paper before printing. After which we have the very heart of the system, our central drum 8-color system, and our technologies Kiss and Go, Tune and Go, and Touch and Go allow us to get the best possible results. After the drum, we have the drying tunnel and then the downstream unit. On the downstream unit, we can print another 2 colors on the same side of the impression printed side or on the reverse side, and both are registered on what was printed before. After the downstream unit, we have the cameras, which check the quality of the print. So we have one camera after the material comes out from the drum, which checks whether the correct printing pressures have been exercised, one camera which checks whether the print is correct over the drum, the other one checks the correct print on the downstream unit, and the other one checks the register setting between the drum print and the downstream unit print. Obviously, we have the output, which is what characterizes our machine, because we have a possibility to bypass this phase and go directly to the rewinder. Thank you, Giuseppe. Before moving to the demonstration, please show us the material process that we have been talking about. Thank you. As we were saying, we start from the unwinder, after which includes the dancer arm responsible for the control of the web tension. Then we have a cleaning system for the reel. Then we have a system which guides the reel to center the paper which goes towards the printing drum. Then we have the drum printing in color, the drying tunnel, after which we go to the downstream unit. The downstream unit, according to how the material is introduced, allows one to print on the same side or on the reverse side. After the downstream unit, cameras check, and we have the possibility for a second choice, i.e. to decide whether we want to go directly to the rewinder bypassing the whole structure of the cutter, and then we go down here to the rewinder, or whether we move down with the web tension control and go directly to the inline cutter. Thank you for having described the machine, but also the material process. Now the time has come to show, if we haven't promised too much, to have our demonstration and show what the Onyx 810 hybrid model 130 can do. So Matteo and Simone, please start the machine. So what will we print today, Giuseppe?
Come dicevi giustamente, Pietro, per dimostrare che non abbiamo raccontato troppo, oggi andremo a stampare due lavori.
As Pietro, you were rightly saying, to show that we haven't promised too much, today we will have 2 types of print. One will be reeled to sheet on cardboard weighing 220 grams per square meter with 8 colors and with a printing width of 660 millimeters. After a job change, we will print on paper 30 grams per square meter, 8 colors, and in this case with a winding process, reel to reel. This seems a very complicated endeavor, so I'm very curious about the final result. Now that the machine is running, let us consider the sheeter, which is one of the elements that makes this Onyx 810 machine hybrid. The sheeter is integrated in the printing machine, and this allows the client to avoid an expensive and cumbersome job when the need arises, for example, to take the sheets to be cut, to unwind the printed reel and cut the sheets before
che possono essere poi portati ai
they
successivi processi di lavorazione.
are taken to the final process, because the output is cut sheets which can already be processed immediately, which represents a great advantage. Great. Matteo, if you don't mind, let us stop the printing process to have a sample which Giuseppe will show us and explain in real time. If you don't mind, bring us a sample.
Grazie Matteo.
Prego. Oh, perfetto. Giuseppe, ora per cortesia descrivici cosa stai tenendo in mano e cosa potrei fare io adesso con questo prodotto se fossi il cliente finale.
Thank you, Matteo.
Allora, come dicevamo, abbiamo
Great.
stampato su cartoncino.
Please, Giuseppe, if you don't mind, explain and illustrate what you have in your hands and what I could do with this product if I were the final user. Great. As we were saying, we printed on cardboard 220 grams per square meter, and obviously, in order to mention brands which are well known to everybody, we have not printed anything to do with a specific product. So you have to think that instead of these images, you may have the packaging or a box which may be used for crisps or hamburgers. This is the final product of the sheet and can go immediately to the die cutter, which cuts from this sheet of paper the different boxes that will then be folded and used to contain and package whatever it is that we are asking for and deliver to our homes. Thank you. Before seeing the second sample, please tell us something about what I call the very heart of this machine, the central drum unit. Great. In this case, it is an 8-color printing unit which was integrated with a downstream unit with the ability to print another 2 colors. The integration of this downstream unit gives the machine greater flexibility and further hybridization factor, because it allows us to print 2 extra colors on the same side as the impression printed side or on the reverse side. This can be also used to apply varnish or lacquer over the final work, which contributes further to the great versatility of the Onyx 810 hybrid model 130. I noticed that Onyx has a particularly big rewinder. Why? Indeed, this is a rewinder which allows us to handle reels with a diameter up to 1,500 millimeters. And we are speaking of paper weighing up to 1,500 kilos. So this rewinder must be solid so that we can work at a speed of 400 meters per minute. Another element which was developed by our technician is to give customers the possibility to move from the shaftless operation to a shafted operation. Okay, now I'd like to ask Matteo to bring us a second sample. Obviously, the time to do a job change is longer than the time we have here for our presentation, so we prepared this sample in advance. Let us show you a video on reel-to-reel printing. Giuseppe, same question as before. Please tell us more about the sample and what are the following steps that I could perform if I were a customer. The second sample was printed on light paper and it is printed to be wrapped. So this sample is something we can cut for different bags or bags that can be used for food delivery. Each brand has its own specific bags bearing their brand. So from this sample, we can move to the bag making machine, the machine that actually creates the bags. Great, Giuseppe. Before concluding, I have a series of questions concerning the design and the construction of the machine. The first question, in general, what is the type of hybridization which is required mostly by your customers? Well, Pietro, the downstream unit is one of the features that is most sought after by our clients with central drum machines. This gives a further degree of freedom to the customer because it allows one to print on both sides of the material, and the print is registered with what has already been printed by the drum without adding any further element or without having to introduce the material into the machine again. What has been the most complex phase? What was the challenge in designing this machine? Well, our technical office was pretty busy, not so much in designing the machine, because this configuration was something that Uteco had already dealt with in the past, but rather in placing the machine within the plant of our customers. So we had to cooperate with the client and managing the layout for the incoming and outgoing materials, where empty pallets and full pallets could come in and out, and how the reels could come into the plant so as to have a layout which was the most effective for the client. We have already spoken of the different advantages of the machine. If you were to choose one, what is the most important added value which this machine can bring to customers? Definitely the fact that we can print with the water-based ink. This is an important advantage because water-based ink allows us to print which is less impactful on the environment in a sector such as packaging, which is under the limelight in terms of environmental impact. So we don't exude noxious gases into the atmosphere. This is an advantage. And this type of print helps complying with the regulations concerning food content, i.e. all those products that are needed to package food. What are the crucial elements that lead your customers to choose this Uteco solution? Let's say that in this particular case, the determining factor has been the fact that we haven't limited ourselves to supplying the customer a printing machine, but that we have suggested a tailor-made solution based on his needs, where Uteco has advised the customer on the best configuration and how to place the machine within the plant to print their main product, which is food packaging, in particular packaging for fast food. The client, for example, didn't have any specific experience. We have only used paper or cardboard. Are there any other possible applications? Absolutely. Recently, Pietro, Uteco has designed and produced similar machines, giving the possibility to print on different materials materials such as film and other materials. In this case, the specific need for the client was to print on paper and cardboard. But once again, we have total flexibility. Giuseppe Sauri, thank you very much for having described the new Onyx 810 Model 130 hybrid model so well, and to have explained its many advantages. I'd like to thank Simone and Matteo for having shown the machine in action. Unfortunately, we have finished our time. For all your questions, please contact our experts, Uteco VR at uteco.com. Uteco VR at uteco.com. My name is Pietro. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you for the next Uteco presentation. See you soon, and goodbye from Verona.